Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey, and today we're talking our Week 3 rankings episode. We're going to do a little bit of the ranks. We're also going to do some little high-low players here, because there's definitely players that have disappointed for the first 2 weeks that people might be looking to trade already. You got the people that always overreact in fantasy football way too quickly, and this might be time to take advantage of that. So we'll go over all of that in just a minute. Before we do that, make sure you guys go check us out on Twitter at the FF Prophet or Instagram at Fantasy Football Prophet. Subscribe to us on YouTube as well, youtube.com/Fantasy Football Prophet. But so I guess this could tie into ranks, but before we get into the actual talking about this stuff, I think we got to talk about Devonta Freeman. Just got signed by the Giants, which I think we kind of expected after the news was out that he was going to visit. It seemed like this was obviously going to be the logical place for him. And so most people are probably going to listen to this episode after their waivers have already gone through. But I hear there's a lot of people that are in love with getting Devonta Freeman right now and think he's, should be a top ad. And he just blows like Dion Lewis out of the water, right? But I'm not sold on this Devonta Freeman thing. So first off, Saquon was struggling behind that line. Saquon Barkley, who is, one of the best running backs we've seen. And he was struggling. Week 1, 15 carries for 6 yards? He was having a rough go of it. Devonta Freeman is not Saquon Barkley. I mean, do people forget? I mean, what Devonta Freeman do people think we're getting? Are we transporting back to 2016? When's the last time Devonta Freeman's been good? I think it's 2016, right? He's had that was it. Last year he was not good. I mean, I don't love throwing out yards per carry. It's not like a thing, but there is a point where it starts to be like 3.6 yards per carry last year. It was a rough go of it. And he was injured the year before. 2017, he was okay, I guess, but it was 2015, 2016. That's when he was good. I don't know what you think about this, but I just don't really buy this. I think it's a bad team. It's not a great situation. I honestly still would personally want Dion Lewis. I kind of think Dion Lewis could become more valuable. I just don't believe in Devonta Freeman, to be honest. Just don't believe in it.
I mean, and injuries like everyone else, I am not impervious to them. They are killing me this year. Yeah. Absolutely. So I am looking at the waiver wire and I'm trying to pick. You only can pick so many, right? If who can I kick off? Who do I trust? Who do I really believe in? And to be quite honest, when anyone on that Giants team, their name comes up, I do not trust them. No. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's going to be Dion Lewis, and it doesn't matter to me if it's Devonta Freeman. I think the best thing about Devonta Freeman is he will be a bigger name. It will take quite a bit of draft capital or the top waiver pick to get him. I think it will give everyone else the opportunity to get other players that I think, even though they might not have the starting role that they can just run with, no pun intended, I do think that they will be more beneficial to have, such as like a Davis taking over for McCaffrey for a few weeks, maybe up to 6, we don't know, or even McKinnon. Yeah. I think those guys are more beneficial than Devonta Freeman at this point. We have not seen him play in a while, to be completely honest. Maybe he'll light the world on fire. Maybe they'll change the offense because they no longer have Saquon and it's just not working. Any of that is possible. Yeah. So I'm not saying he's completely worthless to go out and get. He will have the starting job, from here until an injury or he proves otherwise. But, we don't know what Dion Lewis is going to be either. So at the same time, I don't believe it's a one starting back kind of role. And that really, really worries me.
Yep. I don't want to go spend like big fab money to get him. It's just not where I'm going to go. So I don't know. That's okay. Enough for Devonta Freeman. We got to see what he can actually do in the field. I don't think he still has a lot left, and to top it off, I don't think the team's any good. So I just don't think it's going to work very well. So I'm going to jump into some ranks before we get into some of our buy low candidates. I just want to talk about quarterbacks quick because I'm curious what you're thinking here, quarterback wise, for the week, because there is some quarterbacks that have really impressed, like Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray. I mean, Dak's been pretty solid. Cam Newton's been good. And I mean, Mahomes and Lamar Jackson have both been good, but they haven't been just like, wow, these guys are so far and away better than everybody because they haven't been these first couple weeks. Are you still just slotting in Jackson and Mahomes 1-2? Or are you looking like Russell playing against Dallas, which Dallas gave up a lot of yards to Atlanta? Kyler Murray going against the Lions. Lions have not been able to, they were not able to stop Rodgers or Jones or then Trubisky in week 1.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just go through my top 5 real quick. No longer am I slotting him 1-2 automatically. I think we don't have a lot of information as far as defenses go, but we do know matchups a little bit, and we have seen what other people are doing, right? Russell Wilson, we've always been a big fan of him. We had him number 3, so I don't think that is anything too crazy to jump him above one of these guys. But I do have Lamar number 1. I love his running ability. I love what that offense can do. It felt like he really didn't even have to do anything in the second half of last game, and he still got you 20 points. So I do believe in Lamar, especially going against KC, because you either they're going to make a statement or it's going to be a high-scoring game. So I like him. Obviously, I like Pat Mahomes too. I do have him number 4 this week, though. So Baltimore's no joke. I mean, their defense, both games, they have not came up against someone of KC's caliber. But, Kansas City is coming off of pretty much a recipe for how to keep them in check, right? They, LA did a wonderful job doing that. So I do have him number 4. It's not anything too crazy, but I do have him at number 4. And then number 2, Russell Wilson. Number 3, Kyler Murray. He's going against Detroit. We know Detroit is like just a freebie right now. And Kyler being able to run and pass is that dual threat that Detroit is going to have no answer for whatsoever. I mean, you can do whatever you want on him. So I'm going to throw in the quarterback that's going to do both. And he's looked phenomenal. I mean, he has Hopkins, so he'll get those passing yards, but his rushing ability is setting him apart. And then number 5, I put Dak. Look, do I think he's going to get 3 rushing touchdowns every game? No, but he is throwing it a lot. They're in these highly, high score games for whatever reason. I don't know what their defense is doing, but look, Dak is reaping the benefits. And then from there, just to finish out the top 10, Josh Allen, Matt Ryan, Cam Newton, Aaron Rodgers. And then I have Ben Roethlisberger with Ryan Tannehill at number 11. I'm still waiting on, I love Tannehill, but he's outside of it just because you have Minnesota. And once again, you don't really know. I don't know what's going on with A.J. Brown and stuff. Can, Jonnu Smith actually catch multiple touchdowns a game? I don't know.
So my top 5's almost the same as yours. I still put Mahomes ahead of Kyler. Just I have a hard time making the switch right now, but I get it matchup-wise and everything going on. I get it, but I did have Mahomes 3 behind Russell. Same other than that. And similar, rest of the top, Josh Allen. Then I went Cam Newton, Matt Ryan. I went Rodgers, Roethlisberger. So very, very similar there. So one quarterback, though, I wanted to ask you about is, are we seeing, like, the downfall? Is this it? Drew Brees. Like, he was not good against the Raiders. Is that Michael Thomas? Is that how much Michael Thomas has just completely, I guess, allowed Drew Brees to keep playing? Really? I mean, that's honestly
fighting words.
So
in New Orleans.
I'm telling you, I think it's Drew Brees really can't throw the ball downfield anymore. Michael Thomas has been his safety blanket, and I mean, Brees is obviously still accurate as can be. But Michael Thomas is just such a good target who doesn't drop anything. Has he really made Brees look better than Brees? Should have aged a little more. Maybe that aging is happening now without Michael Thomas on the field.
Well, I do agree with you. I mean, I wouldn't say this about Brees, like, oh, he's finished without him. But yeah, if you have someone of that caliber, I mean, we saw it even with not an aging quarterback, right? You see it with Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
You don't have Hopkins, life is a lot tougher.
He's out of our top 10 now.
Yeah, he is. And he's going against Pittsburgh too, so you're kind of like double whammy. Drew Brees comes in at number 12 for me. I'm not writing him off because it was one game. And to be quite honest, too, Las Vegas, it still feels weird to say.
All right.
The Vegas Raiders, both games they've played good football.
They have.
And I don't see a lot of unnecessary turnovers. Their defense is relatively solid. Hey, I'm not writing them off because I'm thinking maybe Vegas is just a very good team this year. I'm not throwing them in the title contender, but maybe you don't want to play them anymore.
Maybe the whole everyone was giving John Gruden so much crap last year, like it's just the game is just passed him by. Maybe it hasn't. Maybe he had something. remember when he was trading Khalil Mack and they traded Amari Cooper, all this stuff, and everyone's just John Gruden doesn't have it, right? I don't know.
Well, I don't necessarily know that. I do know that John Gruden needs his players to run his scheme.
Yep.
And I think he finally has them, right? You have Josh Jacobs. You can run the ball a absurd amount. And with John Ross, if that's not a Freudian slip, John Ross, his doppelganger, if Henry Ruggs,
Yeah.
if Henry Ruggs, John Brown, or geez, man, I'm throwing all of them in one. But if John Ross wishes he was Henry Ruggs at the moment, but even with him and if you watch the game, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But even with him not doing very well in that last game, he was able to draw a penalty late in the game that kind of shorted up. So it feels like even if he's not going to use him a ton every single game, he is there to take the top off the defense. He is there to put pressure on certain parts of the field. And I think that is where Gruden really, he kind of shines because he can really take one player and optimize them. I'm surprised he's able to do it without any true wide receiver out there.
I mean, they're throwing the ball to Darren Waller.
Yeah, and
Waller's just having a massive year.
We kind of thought that too. We weren't sure who it was going to be. Tyrell going down. But yeah, I think that they're a legit team and they're going to run the bejesus out of the ball. And I do worry if Jacobs does go down.
I think they can still do it. Jalen Richard got a nice touchdown last night. I think they're not going to be as good, obviously, but
yeah, and that's what I worry. They're really controlling the ball very well with Jacobs. He is a very good running back, and that allows Carr to be more of a efficient quarterback.
Carr, you never know what he is. I still don't know what he is. After how many years, I do not know what he is.
I think he's a manager, right? I think he's a game manager that isn't going to win you games. And I mean this with no disrespect, but I don't think he's not a Pat Mahomes, right? You don't want the ball in his hands with 2 minutes to go and think he's going to sling it all around and make a miracle happen.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
You give him a full game and you stick to the plan, and he will not throw a lot of interceptions. He'll be able to get first downs, and then you put in, a good running back behind him, and he's a very capable quarterback. I haven't seen anything more than that yet. But who knows? Vegas is really surprising me.
So, funny stat I just heard is, it feels like we don't know anything about Derek Carr yet. He's about to set the all-time record for most starts as a quarterback, as a Raider quarterback. He's about to have the most starts of all time as a Raider quarterback already. And
well, you say already, but
I know, but it's funny. But that's what I'm saying.
Years?
Like, it's been a while, but it's like, how do we still not know about this guy? Is this year 6 at this point? Year 7? I don't even know what year it is. It might be year 7 even.
It might be. Well, I mean, we say we don't know.
This is year 7. This is year 7. It's crazy to me.
The guy, I feel bad for him, really, because you go to the Raiders who, I mean, let's be quite honest, has not had the best. I think they went to the Super Bowl. When was that? You'll remember this. I already know.
What, back in the 2000s?
Yeah.
With Rich Gannon?
Okay, Rich Gannon, yeah. What, do you know what year that was? Anyway, so
I want to say that was like 2003.
Okay, so it was a quick decline after that. They go to the Super Bowl with aging Rich Gannon. Obviously, they do not win, and then they pretty much have to sell off parts. And then they get Khalil Mack. You think they're on their way up, and they kept switching coaches. And then obviously Derek Carr, during his tenure, whether that's 6 or 7 years, he also gets hurt. I wonder how many coaches he's even had. He's if you look at his numbers, you do wonder why people aren't a little higher on him. Because right off, I do remember either his freshman or sophomore year in the NFL, he put up good numbers, but it's just never every coaching system has like changed up on him. I mean, even when this new regime came in, they were questioning whether or not they should ship him and start brand new. I mean, he's never gotten a lot of love.
No, he hasn't. It was 2003. So they lost to the Bucs. They lost to Gruden.
Look at this. Gruden started the downfall, and now he's trying to push him back up.
There you go. So, all right. How about some running backs here? So we're not too much to talk about here at this. I'm going to go more. I think let's see do you have any buy low at running back? That's what I want to see.
Buy low?
Is any of your buy lows running backs?
Running back is more difficult because a lot of injuries are kind of messing with it at the moment. I'm trying to think who would actually be low. Because, a week ago I would have said, Leonard Fournette. I don't know if he's low anymore because he had his breakout game. But if someone in your league still doesn't believe in him, I would say he would be a buy low candidate.
I'll say for me, it's Joe Mixon still.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay,
there.
I still have him relatively high.
So it's the 2 weeks. So 35 carries for 115 yards on the year, 3.3 yards per carry, no touchdowns, only 5 catches. So there's at least, not every league, but there's leagues out there where people are done with Joe Mixon, and they're just they want to get something for him yet while he still has maybe some kind of value, right? And this is maybe the time for me. People are thinking to get rid of him. I would never get rid of him at this point. Don't get rid of a player like that where their value's taking a hit. But if you can convince that Joe Mixon owner to get him to you for not, you're gonna have to give him something, but not major pieces to your team. I'd try to do that because Mixon had a slow start to last year too, and it came around. And I do believe this team's gonna come around. Joe Burrow looked better in game 2 than he did game 1 already. He already made a jump, and I think it's going to continue. So I'm on board with getting Mixon. So his start this year is actually better than last year's start. So last year he ended up with 1,100 yards, very solid year, 5 touchdowns only. But his first 2 games last year, he had a total of 17 carries for 27 yards in his first 2 last year. So he's way above last year's pace. So he should rush for 2,000 this year at that rate he's going compared to what he did last year. So Joe Mixon for me, I still am a big believer in that, and I'm not don't worry about these 2 games too much. I think he's just that much of a talent where he's going to figure things out. So Joe Mixon for me, I'd go get him. The rest of these guys, Zeke's the number 1 now, the clear-cut number 1 running back, and then it's pretty clear. It's Zeke, and there's like Alvin Kamara, and there's Derrick Henry and Dalvin Cook are up there. Those are like the guys now, right? At this point with McCaffrey and Barkley out. And then I think Jonathan Taylor has to be up there in the ranks because of the volume he's getting. And he's a good player. I don't know how great he is yet, but there's so much volume for Jonathan Taylor. I think he needs to be up there. So for me, I put Jonathan Taylor 5th this week going against the Jets.
I like that one. I would say the other one, and it's so difficult because you know who the good running backs are. These are not surprises, right? I think maybe the people that you could go out and get that, and usually owners don't, aren't the ones that are kind of underrating them. But I do think that Austin Eckler, because of where he's ranked right now, I think he would be a great one to try to buy low on. And kind of in a weird way, I actually think Kareem Hunt as well, because he's
interesting. Yeah,
he's a number 2, so there might be a way to, people can't view him as the number 1. Chubb is killing it, right? Hunt is, and if you have a good wide receiver or something, they're probably more likely to give him up, even though I think he's going to produce, running back 2 type numbers. So I think he's an interesting one because he's kind of a Trojan horse a little bit. Those would be the other 2 that I would kind of throw up there for that.
Yep. I think Austin Eckler's, interesting. People are all on the Josh Kelly bandwagon. And I liked Kelly. He was one of I kind of thought Kelly would jump into this role. This is where I kind of envisioned him, and it happened. Austin Eckler's not going away. Austin Eckler, I think, is still a better back than Joshua Kelly. He's just different. And he's going to be still in his same role. I'm just hoping they put Justin Herbert in there. And did you hear Anthony Lynn the other day said Tyrod Taylor is their starting quarterback? He gives them the best chance to win. Tyrod Taylor does. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, sure. I hope, come on. NFL coaches just need to, not be afraid to make changes, honestly.
Yeah, and also, dude, Tyrod knows what is going on.
It's just, they have to.
He knew that he was waiting in the wings. He had a good start. In what world, maybe it feels good to hear your coach say that about you. I believe that he likes him, and I don't have any issue with Tyrod being a starting quarterback. Do I want him to be my starting quarterback? No.
Because, you're not going to win if he's a starting quarterback.
But I'm sure that he is a good presence to have. You want to keep him happy. But you're looking at what happened last week. Tyrod knows too. Give the guy a little respect and just say, hey, he came out here. We're going to run with the rookie because, he did such a wonderful job. But Tyrod is still an intricate part of, the teaching process or whatever. Whatever you want to tell him.
So I'll move over to wide receiver here. So do you have a couple buy low, or you have a buy low wide receiver here for me?
There's more.
There's quite a bit here, yeah. I think.
The one that stands out to me that I think people might be afraid of is AJ Green. I believe in AJ Green. I have from the beginning, so maybe I'm a little one-sided on this. But hey, AJ Green did not perform the first 2 times out, but they try to get him the ball a lot. And we saw enough from Joe Burrow, which I don't think anyone really doesn't believe in him anymore, the talent. I think the longer they stay on the field together, the better they'll get. If he keeps getting double-digit targets, he will start doing really well. So I would say A.J. Green for me is definitely that one.
A.J. Green is tied for 5th in the league in targets right now.
Love it. And he is, in points, what is he right now? 79th.
Yeah, and with 22 targets over 2 games. The targets are there. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. That's, to me, I think, clear cut. It's going to happen, right? 22 targets in 2 games. Burrow's trying to get the ball to A.J. Green. I think that connection is going to happen. So I love that one. I'm still not going to rank him as high this week. I need to see it before I do it, but
I feel that, yeah.
I want to go after that one. So I went with this is a higher up the board play because it's just some people are going to maybe be down on him already. And Allen Robinson to me, because in 2 games he has 8 catches only for 107 yards. That should just be a good game. But it's kind of 5 for 74 against the Lions, 3 for 33 against the Giants. He hasn't done a lot, and I still believe in the talent though. And I have him ranked 6th this week, actually. So I really do and a lot of that's going against Atlanta. I think it's a good matchup. Atlanta, look at, they gave up 40 points to the Cowboys. I think that's a good matchup for Allen Robinson. I'm still on board with Allen Robinson. I think it's I can see people wanting to trade him. I could see somebody out there. Robinson's not he's not one of the biggest names out. He's like this in-between guy. So if somebody could want to trade him, I think you should try to go get him if you don't have to obviously give up a terrible amount for him. But Robinson.
I like that one because even I would be open to that trade because I hate the situation he's in.
Yep.
So I don't hate that one at all. I like that one. I think that's smart.
The other guy, I don't know. I'm not really going to maybe advocate for this yet because it was so bad last week. One great game, one bad game. Adam Thielen. If you have the owner that is just so down on last week and how just terrible the Vikings were, maybe you can get Thielen from him. But then again, are the Vikings really that bad? That was ugly. I don't know. I just have a hard time with that because that was so bad.
It was very bad. I'm not sure what to say about that one either.
So that's one to keep on your radar. But
the other one, and it's hard because it's an injury. He was highly sought after. So I don't know if you'll even be able to get him. But if someone is in desperate need, A.J. Brown, right? He didn't have a great first week against Denver, 3.9 points. Didn't play against Jacksonville. He's hobbled. Obviously, Jonnu Smith is kind of taking off. Yep. Corey Davis is starting to be productive. So if someone is starting to worry about that, especially if they had a Christian McCaffrey or someone else that had an injury on their team, they might be looking to move some pieces. I think A.J. Brown would be one to look at too.
Definitely. I'm going to say one that not going buy low, but maybe the other way is I'm not sure I wouldn't try to sell Julio. I'm just not. I remember how long we've talked about this. When's that year going to happen? Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it's here yet, but it could be.
All right. No, I like
it. Could be.
Let's play this game.
Yeah.
What do you need to get?
So
here, we'll say this. I don't want to play cross. Wide receiver to running back because it's too. I don't think it's as transparent.
So I'll go for like a 2-for-1.
Yeah, for a wide receiver.
I mean, would somebody trade you Calvin Ridley in a player form right now? Is Calvin Ridley just been that
Calvin
good?
Ridley,
He's been too good, right? So I would like something. Could I get Allen Robinson, Terry McLaurin for him?
Would you take it?
I think I might.
I think you could do that. Definitely.
I think I might do that.
Interesting.
Allen Robinson's the one where maybe throw off. I think if I could throw Terry McLaurin, I'm a big Terry McLaurin fan right now. I think he's showing how good he can be. If I get McLaurin and combine him with something, McLaurin and DJ Moore, I like DJ Moore too. I'm just throwing my team right there. I think it would be like a Terry McLaurin, and I'm just trying to think of who that second guy would be that I'd be okay with. Or it could be like I'd throw in like a DK Metcalf and.
It would have to be someone much lower than
somebody else. It's those kind of things, and I think I would do it.
So you're open to it.
I would be.
Here's one that's interesting.
Yeah.
And I think it could go both ways. I think he might be a good trade bait, and I think he might be.
He could go either way.
Yeah, and the other guy that I think is kind of that way is what do you feel about Julian Edelman?
I think I would try to trade him if somebody is in actually. But you know what?
He's had 2 good weeks.
Maybe.
Well,
I'm not going to.
Yeah, week and then one
I still think I'd try to trade him, but maybe this is real, and that's going to be Cam's guy.
He was Brady's guy. He is that guy in the offense.
I just can't
He's
see
not
them
gonna score a lot of touchdowns, but
I can't see them throwing the ball that much ever again, though.
Would you look to do like a DK and Julian Edelman, even though he's a little more of a name, so people kind of grab onto him a little more, gravitate towards his name?
I don't think I'd do that.
You wouldn't do that?
No.
Interesting. All right.
No, I don't think so. Not sure. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Julio, though, I don't know. Is it that time? Not sure.
Well, I don't hate it because I think what we've seen in the first 2 weeks with as many times as they've thrown the ball is they have a lot of talent on that team that you can throw it to. So who is going to catch the touchdowns? Who are they going to key on? Julio is definitely going to have a solid year. I have no doubt about that.
He had a very good week 1. But you're going to have
more
of those week 2s are going to happen, I think. They might just happen more often. He's 31 now. When you get to this age at wide receiver, you just don't know where is it going to change. It happened real quick for like Andre Johnson. Remember back in the day? Like Andre Johnson just was like done. It happens to receivers all the time, or all of a sudden they're just all of a sudden done, especially bigger receivers. I feel like it happens so often where they've been good and all of a sudden then they are, I don't know what happened to them. Julio is one of the best of all time. Yeah. So he definitely might have more year. I might still be saying this for the next 3 years with Julio. It's possible.
Very well could, but I think the consistency is something we always got off him, even if it wasn't touchdown wise. It was yardage. Last game, in not sounding the alarm bell like you were saying, but hey, if you can get multiple pieces that can produce for you, is that better than the up and down version of what the Falcons are going to be this year? And it does look like Ridley right now.
He's becoming the real thing.
He's kind of overtaken him, and a lot of that has to do with touchdowns. He's just
are we seeing
somehow he just knows how to get in the
It's not the same type of player, but are we seeing the next Ridley? Are we seeing the next Julio taking over for Roddy White thing?
That's a very good.
Not the same. They're not the same kind of players, but it's the same situation.
Yeah.
Years later
for the same team.
Yeah. Years later. So all right. Tight end wise, I don't know if you have any buy low at tight end. I really don't, honestly.
No, well, the people I like kind of did well last week.
The ones, the guys I've liked have been good, and the young guys are stepping up like I was hoping. The Jonnu Smith, the Mike Gesicki, T.J. Hockenson even showed some flashes that I think he can be a player.
Hayden Hurst caught a touchdown.
Goddard wasn't great, but I don't think that's anything to worry about. I think he has a good matchup this week. Tyler Higbee was good. He got a bunch of touchdowns. Hayden Hurst was good. So Hayden Hurst, I like him. I think he's a good athlete out there. He looks good. But they, again, talking about Atlanta, they have 1 million guys to throw the ball to now. I mean, that's part of the reason with Julio. The targets might not be there. You got Ridley, you got Russell Gage who's getting a bunch of targets, and you got Hayden Hurst. So
I do want to ask you, because I'm interested too, because after looking at more and more of these tight ends, there's two names that jump out that I would like to get your opinion on whether or not their talent or usage is going to continue, right?
Yep.
Number one, I want to know how you feel about Sample in Cincinnati.
I'm just not. I don't care. I don't. I really don't. I don't. I just don't think that offense is going to be able to sustain a tight end like that. Sample, I'd have to be a deeper league. I think there's just so many other guys. To me, that's the thing. We're just so many guys that I just don't need to reach there. Unless you're in like a tight end premium league, tight ends are getting more points. Then definitely consider it. Like Scott Fishbowl type thing where you're getting more points. But in a regular 10, 12 team league, I just don't. I think he might have some decent weeks. Maybe in bye weeks you start thinking about it. But I like too many of these other guys. It's the point where Evan Ingram's like barely in the top 15 now. Like there's so many guys out there. So nay on him. But the other guy that I find interesting that may have just broken into, more playing time since the number one tight end was out, but we're talking about Mo Alley Cox. So Mo Alley Cox, he got over 100 yards last week, so Jack Doyle in his entire career has had one 100-yard game. Mo Alley Cox does it in like his first start. He's another one of those former basketball player types.
Yeah, former UCF.
I love those kind of guys. Like they always
man, you really had that 100 game stat locked. You knew I was going to ask about him.
I had a feeling you were going. I had a feeling you were going to Mo Alley Cox there, and I'm interested in him actually. I actually am. A little more than sample, maybe. Again, I don't know if it's enough to actually pick him up yet. It depends on the size of your league. It depends on the size of your bench. I'm interested in him. I am. I'm going to keep him on my radar, but I'm not ready. Like in the leagues we're in, I don't have a bench spot for him, so he's not going to end up on my team. But there's something possibly there. I think he's probably better than Jack Doyle. He has a chance to be better than Jack Doyle. I think we know what Doyle is, right? He's fine. He's never going to be anything special. Mo Alie-Cox is interesting to me. I'm going to definitely be watching that, especially against the Jets this week. Could be a decent game. So I'm very curious how that one plays out with him. If I had, some of my deeper leagues that I'm in, I might throw him on the end of the bench. So, all right. I think that's it for our, I don't know what you call it, ranks, buy low, all that kind of stuff episode. So we'll be back tomorrow. We got some mailbag questions from everybody. Talk to you guys then.